Shaq was on the It's Given podcast. I have carved up some highlights, so we're going to get to that. You're going to see still images because your boy is not trying it, bro. The system be going crazy sometimes with the copyright stuff. So it's possible I could get away with it, possible it's not. But when it comes to these podcasts, man, they be the main culprits. So we not playing no games today. So you're going to see still images, but you're going to hear what they saying, man. But I carved up a few highlights, so we going to kind of react to it. I listened to the whole thing already. Let's get to it.
He knows who you are. And I was like, wow, a 6-year-old, at this time he was 5, a 6-year-old knows who Shaquille O'Neal is, but then so do the 60, 70, 80, 100-year-olds and everything in between. Does that make it difficult for you to find partnership? Are you even open to partnership? What does dating look like for someone as successful as you?
I try to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to study relationships.
Mm.
I think people need to focus more on compatibility, like what I would need
Yeah.
and what you would need.
What do you think people focus on now?
I need, like, you focus on the titles, but you don't focus on the chapters.
Mm.
I want a stable man. Stable how? Like I heard my good friend David Banner say he's finally ready to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving an example about how a woman says, I want all this, but then I want you to spend time with me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how are you gonna get all this while I'm working and have me spend it? It made a lot of sense.
Mm.
I'm just looking. And how do you know I'm not already married?
I want to address a point very quickly that he made. Guys will be multimillionaire entrepreneurs or whatever the case may be, and they will have to work. They will have a very busy lifestyle. And women want guys like that who make that type of money, and they will get with them and then be upset that they don't really have the time to be with them. This is something that we have seen a tremendous amount of times with rich guys. I'm just going to give you two off rip. Judge Mathis was married with a chick for like 30, 40 years. Like Judge Mathis is old. He's a TV personality if you don't know. His wife was about to leave him because he spent too much time working. Y'all rich, he providing, he doing what he's supposed to do, but it's never enough. It's chicks be like, bruh, I don't want no broke dude, da 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 da. But when a guy is working too much, it's an issue. Another one, I always think Brett Favre every time I think of this cat, Tom Brady. I don't know. It's something about white quarterbacks to where I just mix them up, but I don't mix up Eli and Peyton. I know which is which. I'm not a big football fan, by the way, just so y'all know. I'm a big basketball fan though. Like, yeah, some of that. And I played football a little bit, but I'm not about to get on here and cap to y'all like I was a Heisman or no shit like that. I was cool in middle school, but we ain't I'm getting deep. Anyways, his wife, Giselle, also a multi-millionaire, super multi-millionaire model. She was upset because she wanted him to retire. He had finally retired and she just wanted to have time with him, right? And in his situation, I'm not going to say it's unreasonable for her to want time because she let this cat whole career play out. But he wanted to go back. He feel like he has some more left in his tank. She was like, bruh, don't go back. If you go back, I am done with you. He went back. She was done. And this is an example that I bring up all the time because it's multifaceted. Because it plays into what he said as far as, okay, you got all the riches, but you don't got the time. And she mad that you don't got the time. But this is the other thing that it plays into that he didn't say that I always mention. Chicks be wanting this rich dude, rich dude, rich dude. You got this rich dude, but when he can't give you the time, you go and get it from a broke motherfucker, a motherfucker who ain't nowhere near either one of y'all level. She was fucking with the personal trainer. They I don't know if they still together, but they was together after the divorce. Crazy.
No, but I think people need to focus more on compatibility.
Yeah.
Rather than the material things. I want that. Like you need to, like I'd be trying to sit around and create the perfect scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So my perfect scenario would be I work, you work. All right, see you later. Do your thing, I do my thing. Doesn't matter who gets home first. As the protector, provider, and lover, when you come home, I should be able to look at your face and see what's wrong.
Mm.
If you're smiling, I know it's going to be a great night. If you're not smiling, now we got some work to do. What's wrong? Man, blah, 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 blah. And then we should fix it. Boom, boom, boom. You should know your woman, but especially at that point, if you're married, you should know what she likes and what she doesn't like. Boom, boom, boom. And get it back to the space where y'all need to be. A lot of times we don't know each other. We think we know each other. We do all the superficial stuff. We fall in love, and then when reality kicks in, when you got to wake up next to this person every day, you're like, I don't even think I like this person. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. So I think people need to focus on what you need and see if you're compatible or not. Not what you want, what you need.
Do you think
Now, this is the thing. I'm going to go over a few things. The first thing I'm going to say is we don't talk about this enough in this space. But when you actually do the vetting and you actually get a girl and you like, okay, this is who I'm going to be committed to and stuff like that, the energy that he has to where he's trying to make sure that she's good and stuff like that, that is the energy that I feel a man should have. You should be on that protector type of time. You should be on that, I'm making sure she good. Because the issue that I always have when women talk about this, oh, I ain't about to do this for no man, and da 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 and da da da. Oh, why he wanna da 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 da? And then they'll say, ooh, I'll submit for a guy that's da 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 da. But every time we have conversations about submission or what they supposed to do, what they supposed to bring to the table, they always imagine the worst guy. That's what they always do. And then they always get on some, why did he deserve that? Why did he didn't? And they do that for two reasons. Number one, they've never had the type of guy commit to them and give them this type of energy as far as a guy that they actually truly admire and who was just qualified to even, be a provider or whatever the case may be. So they might have had sex with one of them or something like that, but they didn't get that level of commitment and that level of energy from those guys. So they're going based on their reality, and what their reality is broke dudes that they actually do admire. They admire them for different reasons other than their money. But at the same time, when it comes to chicks, like you listen to certain people, they'll say like a chick's whole thing is like their whole mission is to cut a man down, to chop a man down, to test him and all of this shit to see if he really, how he portray himself and stuff like. These chicks really don't view these men as shit, but they'll still give their coochie to him, right? So that's the first reason why they envision the worst type of guy when we have these what a woman should be doing conversations and things like that. And I already went over the second reason. The second reason is because of their reality. So just to be clear, the first reason, as far as why chicks just visualize the worst type of dude when we're talking about submission and how a chick should like cater to his man and things like that, is because one, the guys that they may have had sex with or that they may not even be attracting at all on any level, not even sexually, as far as these ballerific Chads and Tyrones and stuff like that. They never give these chicks that energy that Shaq is talking about, stuff like that. So they want it, but it's never been a reality. So it's hard for them to even imagine realistically having that. But the second thing is the bitterness that comes from what they actually get with the bums that they actually like, the bums that they actually let inseminate them. So that's something I actually hate when I see it come up. And the reason that I mention all that is because what we're talking about right now is a parallel situation with the males when we talk about what we're supposed to do. That's why I said, when you got the chick that you done vetted, she's catering to you, like she's supportive, she is submissive, all that good stuff. When you get that right girl, you have to have that energy to where you are trying to provide, protect, all that stuff, and just really be on point when it comes to her. I could have just made the distinction like, okay, when you get a girl, this is what you're supposed to do. But a lot of dudes It's kind of the similar situation when it comes to the chicks. Like, y'all don't be picking right. Y'all don't be picking right, and the chicks don't be worth half of what you giving them. And the reason I gotta say, after you vetting things like that is because even though you might be entertained by this stuff, even though, you might think I'm funny, even though you might just be watching this just to listen to something, to some extent, this is education. To some extent, this is education. So I gotta remind you to really do your due diligence when picking a woman. So that's the first thing to get all of that out the way. Like the energy that he has, I think that it's on point, and I think that's the energy you should have to the woman that you get in a relationship with. Now, when we get past that, the one thing that he said is, you should know her, she should know you and stuff like that. I agree with that as well. Y'all should definitely get to learn each other and stuff like that. Y'all might have different stuff go on. She might get upset. Y'all might have arguments. You work it out. You figure it out. You calibrate. You both get better. So, and especially if we're talking about having a long-term marriage, that's going to be something that is necessary. Y'all having that communication and y'all being on point and et cetera, et cetera. So that is going to determine not accountability, but compatibility. And that is one reason because women really just be wanting to get married and they just be wanting the status and they just really, so they'll take that Steve Harvey. Ooh, I knew after 2 minutes. I knew after from the moment a man see you, he know if he want to marry you or not. That bullshit. That type of thinking is why the divorce rates be high. Because y'all ain't been through shit. Y'all ain't really learned each other. Y'all ain't really put in the time to figure each other out. You ain't seen the worst of her yet. She ain't seen the worst of you yet, just to be fair. So yeah, y'all should learn each other. But the one thing I disagree with is you regulating her emotions. Shout out to any guy who thinks they got that ability, and shout out to any guy who has some level of success with that. You do what you can. If you hang your hat on regulating a woman's emotions, bruh, you gonna be picking that hat rack up off the floor all the fucking time because it's gonna fall over a bunch of times. You can't hang your hat on that. Like when you know how fucking like just I'm trying to find a word, just how all over the place women's emotions are. Like you can't control that. You can't even control your own emotions as far as most humans. You can't even control your own emotions. So trying to control somebody else's emotional state, you do what you can. You be supportive, but like trying to get her to some place, like, nah, no, maybe calm her down if she's angry and she's about to do something irrational, like try and do that. But even then, I'm gonna tell you some real shit. And this is not even man, woman. This is just in general. Like we could even go and look at man to man. When it comes to calming somebody down, that's an actual skill set. That's an actual skill set that you not just gonna get just from trial and error in most cases. You're gonna have to figure out you're gonna have to do some reading, you're gonna have to watch some YouTube video, you're gonna have to figure or somebody's gonna have to train you. The only way I could say you learn that from experience is if you experience it enough times and try different things and you finally get it to work. I done told y'all, like I done did customer service and stuff like that. So that comes with a certain level of training and you do things to regulate a situation. But if a motherfucker is mad, like the only thing that can take that away from my experience is time. If you can't fix the situation that is making him mad, you can only tell them so much, because they're actually mad at an actual situation. You can only tell them so much. You could try and shift their perspectives in certain ways. You could try different little tactics and stuff like that. But it's just going to take time for them to calm down. That's what it's going to take. And it's going to take you not elevating that shit. And that's just anger. And I'm talking about just people in general, not men and women or anything, like just people in general. When we get into a relationship, man, come on, man. That's why I fuck with Patrice O'Neal because he said, I got two choices. Either her happiness or mine. Can't have both. If I chase her happiness, it's going to make me unhappy because I'm always going to be trying to do stuff to make somebody who is, their happiness is not going to sustain. It's always fleeting. It's never going to just be all the way up all the time. So what I got to do, as far as what he said, I just got to be happy myself and not even try to pursue that, not even try to make her happy or regulate her happiness or anything like that, because that's going to make me miserable. So I just worry about me because I can keep my baseline cool. Now that's something that he didn't say that exactly. You can go back and watch. Just type in Patrice O'Neal happiness. It'll probably come up if you've never heard him talk about that. But another example is Will Smith with Jada Pinkett on a red table before we knew they was doing freak offs and she was fucking on the side and stuff like that. He had a story about where he threw Jada a party and stuff like that, and she cried and like ruined the party, and she's so egotistical and all this stuff. And he had got to a point because he was really invested in making his wife happy. He was super invested. He said, you know what? I figured it out. I cannot make you happy. Another person cannot make you happy. You have to find that happiness yourself. You have to be in charge of your happiness. And let me just end it right here before we continue. So Will and Patrice O'Neal said that. There's a saying, relatively new because I didn't hear it 20 years ago or nothing like that, but it's a saying that's going around. Men will sacrifice their happiness for their family. Women will sacrifice their family for their happiness. There's so many women on TikTok who left their relationships because the guy is good, but they were bored. And they got whole compilations on YouTube of these chicks leaving perfectly good guys and then justifying leaving perfectly good guys. It's so nasty because it's one thing for a woman to talk about her situation and say, I left a good guy and, that's perfectly fine. As far as her saying that's perfectly fine. But it's another thing for a chick to get on a camera like she a fucking guru and encourage other women to leave good guys because of how they feel. Not because of what he did, but because of how they feel. And we're talking about in a marriage context, in a family context where kids are involved and alimony is going to have to be paid and custody battles are going to have to be fought. You can just fucking cause all that damage just because of how you feel. Let's continue.
People even know what they need?
Real people do.
I agree.
I know what I need.
What do you need?
Somebody that know how to cook, clean, and shut the hell up. I'm just playing.
Oh,
See, you see when I said that? Oh, y'all got that? Yeah, just see.
All right, we're going to fast forward to the next highlight.
I think in the order that I gave, protect, provide, and love, I think women want it in the order that they wanted it. And I think, again, dealing with compatibility, like me, I'm getting this paper.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got time to be lovey-dovey all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get this paper,
Mm-hmm.
right? He said, what about you? I'm going to go knock this teeth out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more of a provide, protect, then I can get to the lovey-dovey. So,
Hey, shout out to y'all crash outs who hear somebody say something either to you or even to your girl and decide to take it physical off of words. Shout out to y'all, man. This dude is a fucking cop. He's a cop. He's in law enforcement. And he still thinks that's a good idea. He still thinks that's a good idea. That's funny.
people want the flower, and if you don't do that, like so, I just think you have to, figure it out.
What does it look like when you press a woman? Do you pursue a woman? Like, do you believe in the pursuit?
I don't know what that means.
Like when you see a woman that you want and you do you believe in the classic pursuit of her?
It depends.
Okay. What does that look like if you were to do that?
Me?
Yeah.
I just go like this. What's the call?
That's it?
That's it.
There's no romance at all?
Oh, man. I ain't doing that. For what?
Listen, I'm going to tell you something very funny, and you can look into it, man. The concept of romance, and I can't remember where I read this, but you can Google it, whatever you got to do. The concept of romance is something that was created for guys that are not like Shaq, for guys that who weren't at the top of society. It was stuff that was created so that they could woo a woman over and raise their attraction to get them in one of those types of states where, oh, this is just, oh, he treat me so good, and just win her over. That's what that's about. Romance was created to win women over, for guys who needed to win women over. And that was the only way that people could compete with whenever this was, like knights and, Pete royalty and, aristocrats, people of higher status, whatever the case may be. That was the only way that the average man could compete to get some coochie. And Casanova mastered that shit, and he was all over the place. Shaq might be old, but Shaq is 7 foot something. Shaq is heavy as fuck. Nobody is beating up Shaq. Nobody. And Shaq got a lot of money. Shaq got a lot of money. So if we look at the categories that I mentioned, looks, money, status, personality, status, out of here, just through the roof. We not even gonna get into looks, we just gonna go just based on height. Height, he's solid. He's solid in that category. We look at money, out of here. And even in personality, like, it's Shaq. It's Shaq. I guarantee you, if Shaq really got 4 white chicks at his crib, bro, he didn't have to romance none of them, bro. He didn't have to romance none of them. That's just not how the game works for him.
Okay, so theoretically speaking, if you wanted a traditional woman,
I don't do things that I could sabotage the game. And being that if I sabotage the game, I'll have to keep it up. I'm not doing that.
what does that mean?
Let's just say I meet a high value woman, like your friend always say, and I want to take her to a restaurant. I'm gonna shut the whole restaurant down, have flowers on every table, some ball shit. You'll like it. Oh my God, he's nice and sweet, but I can't do that every day. So since I can't keep it up, I'm not gonna do it at all. Would you like some chicken nuggets? So you have to keep it G, because again, I can always sabotage the game. And then when you look at a guy like me, you probably think I'm trying to sabotage you anyway. Or you just trying to. So a lot of times it don't even make sense to try to even pursue.
Now listen, this is game that I had way before YouTube, way before, bro. I'm talking about over a decade ago. Over a decade ago, bro. I ain't never put the rose petals out. I ain't never do none of that shit. For 2 reasons. Number one, chicks don't really appreciate it. They appreciate it in the moment, but they back complaining 2-3 days later. And even then, I done seen some dudes get cheated on after that shit, or even disrespected. So they don't really appreciate that the way that they should. But the second thing is, however you set the tone is what it's going to be. Let me see if I got a clip real quick.
When a guy's finished doing the business, where you like him to finish on you?
Inside if I'm on birth control. If I'm not on birth control, on the back. On the back.
Are you on birth control right now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. No. I wasn't asking you like that. I'll take you on a date first.
Yeah.
At least
At least 3 or 4. Yeah.
We'll go for 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
And I'm going to react to that video on a 2-minute drill at a later point. But that right there is why I don't go on dates. And that right there is why it's important what tone you set. How you come in is what they expect you to keep up. That's just what it is. They talking about sex. And it's possible. And I know some woman is going to be like, that's not true. That's not true. But it's possible that she could have just smashed him off the dribble. Once he put dates on the table, this woman has no humility. What does she do? He mentioned a date. She mentioned 4 dates. 4 dates. I'm not taking you out 4 fucking times. You don't like me. Like, bruh, you're just trying to milk me. You're just trying to use me. That's what that is. Like, get the fuck out my face. Had he not said that, it would have never been brought up. It never would have been a fake standard that's projected and stuff like that. Because I'm not going to lie to you, man. I don't got to know her. I can look and tell. I know what it is, bro. She's no angel. She's a freaky fraud. But we not going to go too deep on that because I'll say that for another video. But he's right. And it's so crazy. I love hearing him say that because not only does it reaffirm a belief that I had way before a lot of this internet shit, some shit that I actually lived and stuff like that. But this is a guy who, like, if I say a chick say, oh, you just dusty and you not a provider and a real man, and they'll say all that shit, right? Shaq is out of here when it cut like hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions. And he could trick as much as he want to trick. But he still don't want to put in that effort because it's unnecessary and it sets a bad precedent to where now he has to keep this up. Now he has to keep doing it and y'all keep expecting it. It's so funny because it's like we got to be the ones to put in the effort as far as like the presentation and doing all of this shit. Like we still got to blow your back out and we still got to pay your bills and shit like that. So like it's not even remotely close as far as what a woman has to do for a guy when we talking about pursuit or even relationships. It's not remotely close. And the irony about all that is that a chick will get upset when you don't keep it up. Even women got a whole saying that says, don't introduce me to a vibe that you can't maintain. Bet. Like he said, chicken nuggets. Future said chicken wings and fries. We don't go on dates. One of my favorite bars, and that's what it really is. Shout out to Chad Johnson as well, Ocho Cinco, taking his dates to McDonald's for over 20, 30 years.
So a lot of men are afraid of marriage these days.
Because y'all got rules and y'all don't tell us.
What does that mean?
Y'all be making up rules.
What rules, Shaq?
All right, let me put you through a scenario.
Okay.
What's your name?
Anissa.
All right, we're talking.
Yeah.
I'll leave my phone right here.
Okay.
And Anissa says, you're doing a good job, baby. I love you. Is that cheating? Yes or no? Don't think about it. You checking my phone, and
Okay.
Anissa, your friend,
Yeah.
says, you're doing a good job, baby. I like you.
What?
We're friends too. But you.
Oh, well, if you're friends.
Hold on. You didn't know that she has my number or we're texting. And you see her and it just pop up. She's sitting right there and then pop up, my God, baby, you're doing a good job. I love you. Is that cheating or not?
I don't, it depends on you.
Answer the question. We're dating and you text me, but she don't know that me and you have been texting. No, see?
I don't think
See?
that that's cheating.
But
No,
thank
and the
you.
reason why,
Thank you.
but let me tell you why.
Thank you. It's
Because
not.
you can't control another person.
No, that ain't got nothing to do with it.
And
either.
also-
No.
But the boundaries
No.
aspect of it, why
And
is
see-
she calling you
Right,
baby?
the baby thing
That's
is
what's throwing me off. If she was just like, you're doing a great
Because we're
job, I
friends.
love you,
We're friends.
that's fine.
Okay, you're doing a good job. I love you.
Oh,
All
that's
forget the
fine.
baby.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm not pressed by that at all.
But you see her answer?
Yeah.
And that's how most of them think.
But I also
And
think
see,
that a lot
but
of,
hold on. And then there's a word y'all made up, emotional cheating.
that's a thing.
How do you know my emotions? How do you know I'm just not playing with the other side? When I say I love you, I miss you.
Well,
So,
then you're emotionally playing with her.
Okay, but what does that matter to you? You think I'm emotional cheating, which doesn't exist, by the way.
It does exist.
Does not.
If you are emotionally connected with another person and I don't
How
know
do you
about
know
it,
I'm emotionally connected with another person? How do you know? Just because you
well, you
read
wouldn't
something?
know, and that's the whole thing
That's my
about
point.
cheating because there's no conversation about it. But if there's a woman or a man and they are with each other having intimate conversations or intimate experiences, that's
Experiences is a different thing.
So we're going to stop this highlight right here and we're going to go to the next highlight in a minute. But this is the thing. When you look at society right now, it's like the goalpost for a lot of things that I'm not going to really get into. For what's considered what? In this case, cheating. They're typically shifted by women. These lines are shifted by women over time. Emotional cheating is some of the dumbest shit. And that's exactly what Shaq is talking about. Like, that didn't exist in 1985. It didn't exist. Y'all just be in the lab just concocting bullshit. Just concocting bullshit. It's like Shaq said, how do you know I had emotional connection with this woman? You can say something like this is the thing, man. If I don't have a relationship with this woman, as far as a romantic relationship, something that indicates that me and this woman are romantically involved, right? Meaning she's not saying, hey, baby, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I was just thinking about you. I can't get you off my mind. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, the time that we spent at the Ritz-Carlton was so good. Like, if it's not no shit like that to where it's like, okay, they're clearly spending time together. They clearly are seeing each other. She's using terms of endearment like, oh, baby, and all this. Like, it's all got to line up to a relationship. If it's not lining up to an actual relationship, and it's not, and this is the big one, if I'm not smashing, what are we talking about? See, the thing is, when it comes to something like emotional cheating, the reason it's dumb is because there is no guy that really just it just begins and ends as far as their desire and their happiness and just their lust and everything with just conversations, and they are just cool having just conversations. They don't want anything more outside of having conversations with this woman, and that gets their rocks hard. Like, that is not a thing. And if it is, it's a very, very small minority of men. The majority of men want to crank some shit. So if a guy is not cranking some shit, he's not getting what he actually desires. If he is not moving towards cranking some shit, then he is not moving towards what he actually desires. But what it comes down to is women love attention. They love quality time. They love all that little bullshit. So they look at it like, oh, you giving away my attention, because they being possessive about it. You giving away my attention to somebody else. That's cheating. It's not even the equivalent of putting a like on somebody's picture, because if the chick got her butt out and she just double cheeked up, it's all thongy and stuff like that, glazed oil booty cheeks, and you put a like reaction on that, that sends a clear message like you were attracted to that, you want to smash, etc., etc. So I could understand a chick being insecure about that or whatever the case may be, even though it's a picture of somebody that probably don't even live near y'all. But if you were just talking to somebody and there's no relationship and you haven't smashed, and then there's no clear indication that you were trying to smash, what the fuck are we talking about? And it just comes back down to a chick's ego when we talk about that. It's really fucking stupid. So I went and looked up emotional cheating on Google, and I found the key characteristics that pretty much define emotional cheating. This is the main one: emotional intimacy. What is that? Spending significant time in sharing deeply personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences with someone else. We will come back to that and break that down. Secrecy: hiding the relationship from their partner and engaging in deceptive behavior. Let's just keep it a bean. That is bad by itself. If you are spending time with another woman and you are in a relationship, but you are keeping that time you are spending with that other woman secret, then you probably shouldn't be spending that time. That's me keeping it a bean. That's me keeping it a G. If you can't be open about who you kicking it with or whatever, that's an issue. And you should be with somebody who is fine with you spending that time if that's what you're going to do. That's me calling it across the board, because I'm not being with no chick that got male friends and want to go kick it over, fucking Darkwavia's house and shit like that. Fuck that. And if I find out that you was at Darkwavia's house, we done. And y'all could just be friends, and it could just be whatever. And it's not, this is the thing. I'm not going to say that it's emotional cheating. I'm going to say, I can't trust you because you couldn't keep it a bean and tell me you was over at another dude's house. And even then, if you with me, you know I don't play that shit. You know I don't play that shit. But you want to spend time with Darquavius, so we fucking done. Because where the cheating is at to me is everything that I just mentioned. Because you not keeping it a G with me. You're not keeping it a band. But also, you could have been fucking him. That's where my mind is going to be. You could have been fucking him. It leaves space and opportunity for y'all to fuck. And I'm not about to expect somebody who is being secretive to be honest with me. And the last one is lack of honesty. Not being open and honest with their partner about the nature of the relationship. Now, in this case, you know that this person, as far as like this girl, is kicking it with Darquavius or whatever. But she's not telling you that, you know, she's having emotional intimacy with Darquavius. She's not telling you that they are having experiences and sharing feelings and personal thoughts. She's not telling you that. If you are cool with her kicking it with Darquavius, you don't give a fuck about anything that's going on as long as they not touching and he not hating on you and dick is not going in her mouth. You don't really care if you letting her go and kick it with Darquavius. So I went over my discrepancy with the second one as far as secrecy. I think that's universally bad. The third one, when we're talking about this, it's like what's there to hide, which is why we got to go back to number one, because that is the main issue as far as emotional intimacy. When we talk about emotional cheating, let's break this down. Spending significant time with another person. Let's just start there. We got to take the secrecy out of the mix, because the secrecy has nothing to do with you having an emotional connection with another person. It doesn't. And like I mentioned, in my example, I'm going to think you getting cranked, or at least there's an opportunity for you to get cranked. So it's not even about no emotional nothing. So with that, we're going to go with a lack of honesty, and we're going to stick with that because that makes you aware that this person, either your girl or if you're a chick listening to this, your man, has a, you know, friendship with this person. They have some sort of relationship, which typically is going to be a fucking friendship with the person of the opposite sex. So when we talk about being open and honest about the nature of the relationship and stuff like that, you're aware that this person is spending time with this person. Like, if you just really think about that very quickly, if you know that your partner is kicking it with Darquavius, they're going to be spending time together. So when you get to significant time, that is going to be subjective, but you already have the expectation that your girl is kicking it with Darquavius, or yo dude is kicking it with Tabrasia or whatever. So that's an expectation you already have. They're already spending time, whether it's on the phone or in person or whatever. So boom, that's a moot point when we look at it like that. If you're aware that they are spending time, then there's no way to really be dishonest about a lack of time unless the person is being secretive about it, meaning they're lying or trying to hide the amount of time that they're spending with this person. But if you are aware of the relationship, of course, they're going to be spending time together. So let's just throw that out the window. This is where we get to it. Sharing deeply personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences with someone. Let's go over deeply personal thoughts and feelings. What type of feelings could a person share with another person to where you would think that it is cheating? If somebody is talking to another person about the relationship that they have with you, no matter how deep it gets, that's not cheating. That's not cheating. That's not cheating. So outside of y'all two, like, what could the other thing be? Like, you know, that you talking about when, you know, he got beat up when he was 5 and it traumatized him, like his relationship with his mom or something. Like what are we talking about? Like, what deeply personal thoughts and feelings could a person share with another person that could be considered cheating. The only things that I could think of would be things like, I want to fuck you in the ass. I want to put my dick in and around your mouth. Those would be the things that I would, if those are deeply personal thoughts and feelings, those are things like I mentioned earlier, to where a person is trying to get a physical relationship and is blatantly honest. Another type of thought that could actually, and again, it's all going to go back to relationship. I really like you. You should really be with me instead of him, or you should really be with me instead of her. Those things, again, like I mentioned, they would signal to a actual romantic relationship, not an emotional connection. Not just an emotional connection. And it's that simple. If it's an actual relationship, it's not emotional cheating. It's just fucking cheating. Because that person has a relationship, a romantic relationship, or they're pursuing or entertaining a romantic relationship. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about deeply personal thoughts and feelings as far as emotional stuff. Now, when we get past that, what deeply personal experiences or just experiences could a person share as far as intimate experiences that would be considered cheating that are not physical? Because if you cuddling, that's cheating. You're in the bed or on a couch laid up with somebody else. That is a physical act of cheating. Like, what did y'all do? Y'all went to the lake and meditated together? Y'all went in the forest and fucking did some ayahuasca together? Like, this is what it comes down to. Because I know all the dudes get it. Like, I know all the dudes listening get it to where I shouldn't even have to break it down. It's crazy. What it comes down to is if you are a guy, right? If you are a guy and your girl is spending time with Darquavius, right? And you are aware of this relationship and you are okay with it. And she is sharing deeply personal thoughts, emotional thoughts, all that stuff. This is what it comes down to. Darquavius is in the friend zone. Darquavius is in the friend zone, and they are really good friends. And he is trying to lay it on thick to try and get her. But he can't be direct. He's not going to be direct. He's not going to do anything that's going to elicit any sexual, attention or anything like that if he is moving like what we see on this paper as far as emotional intimacy. But this is the thing about Darquavius, though. The thing about Darquavius is, being that he's in the friend zone, he actually is trying to fuck. So if you just give Darquavius enough time and enough space, the shoulder to cry on will become the dick to ride on, because that is how men operate. Now, when we flip the script, if you are a guy in a relationship and you are talking to Brazier, right? And y'all are sharing deep emotional thoughts and stuff like that, that is not cheating. That is not cheating. Let's go back a couple steps. You remember when I said how men work? You remember when I said how men work, and the guy, fucking Darquavius, he's in the friend zone. He's eventually going to try and crack. The thing is, he hasn't tried to crack. That's number one. But number two, if you ask most women if men and women could be friends, they're going to say, yeah. If you ask them, do you think your best friend of 27 years would smash you if you gave him the opportunity? She's going to say no. Fucking some podcaster is going to have her call the dude up and ask, yo, this pussy is hot and ready like a Little Caesar's pizza. You ready? He's saying he putting on his socks now. So when it comes to women, they be selectively naive about this, right? So if we go on by that logic, as far as like how women think, this isn't going to lead to nothing. This isn't going to lead to anything. So when we go back and flip to the other side, is it possible that you could be trying to fuck to Brazier? It's possible that could be your intentions. But the thing about that, when we look at it, it is not clear. Everything mentioned in the emotional intimacy thing, as far as that is platonic. You want to know something? You as a man could share deeply personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences with another man, and there is nothing sexual about it. There's nothing gay about it. There is nothing to where you guys are going to get Brokeback Mountain mode and start Eskimo kissing in the back of a fucking hay bale. Like, it's nothing about that is sexual. I know I dragged this segment in this point, but I just had to do it because this shit is just fucking stupid. So let's just make it clear. Let's just make it clear, which I could have just did this and saved like fucking 10 minutes, but whatever. If you could do it with another guy and it's not gay, is it really cheating? Is it really cheating? Because if you go and cuddle with another guy, yeah, that's gay. We don't got to even go further than that as far as physical acts. But if there is no relationship there, if there is no romantic relationship there, if nothing indicates a physical relationship, pursuit of a physical relationship, or a romantic relationship, or pursuit of a romantic relationship, it's not cheating. But the issue, like Shaq said, is women absolutely want to move the fucking goalposts. They want to move the goalposts to wherever they see fit. Let's go on to the next clip.
Do you think you could be all the way honest with your woman?
No, because you're not supposed to be all the way honest.
I rebuke that.
Let me explain. You ready?
Yes.
Let's just say we have a semi-open relationship, right?
Okay.
And you call me. You want me to say I'm with this freak, I'm gonna try to hit it, I'll call you back? That's honest. Or, baby, can I call you back? I'm with a friend.
Don't say I'm with a friend.
Yeah, it's a friend.
That's a lie.
She's a friend. If she's in my presence, she's some sort of friend. She's not my girlfriend. She's some sort of friend. So you say you want honesty. If you can handle it, yeah. But if you can't handle it, sometimes you have to protect them. You have to protect the feelings.
Dang.
That's all I'm saying.
That's wild.
Yeah, I'm with a friend. That's not a lie. I'm not giving you details, but I'm with, like, you really want me to say, hey, I'm in Vegas, I'm with this little freak.
I want the truth.
So
me.
You want me to say I'm in Vegas, I'm with the little freak, she charged me $1,000, I'm gonna try to get it to $700. I'm gonna knock her down. I'm gonna knock her down. You know me, it's gonna take about 5 minutes. I'm gonna call you back in 10 minutes. That's what you want to hear? Or you want to say, baby, I'll call you back in 20 minutes. I'm in a meeting.
No, you want, not in a meeting. No, right? You know what I want to hear? I want you to tell me before we commit to our relationship that you are still outside and you're not ready to be sexually monogamous with me. Okay. But in every other way, you are. And so if you just say, I'm busy, I don't want you to make up a story because I don't like that.
But how you know I'm lying?
If you were my guy, I would know when you're lying.
No, all that intuition.
What?
Intuitions can be off.
No, I would know.
Intuition.
Let me tell you something about a woman, okay? A woman knows. We know one intuitively.
You think you know?
No, we know.
No,
we know when
assume.
your breathing changes.
You
I'm
assume.
telling you, there are so many little triggers, and we don't.
Watch this. My guy, I'm about to get it. You assume off past traumas. If something happened in your last relationship, you bring it into the new relationship. If I'm taking you out every night and then all of a sudden I'm not taking you out and I'm moody, that don't mean I'm cheating on you.
No, but there is a pattern shift.
Yes, but you have to figure out why the pattern shift.
I agree.
Not assume. You have to figure it out.
Well,
you have
to get
factual evidence. Don't go, because see, but hold on. When y'all think he's shifting, then y'all shift and everything shifts off.
No, I ask questions.
Rather than shifting each other back. If I shift and you go, huh? Oh, my last boyfriend used to do that. And then you shift, and then you got the attitude problem. You start talking about, oh, my last girl used to talk about. Now it's all off. That's why we need to get it, figure it out, be factual about it, and then bring it back. Baby, you took me out to dinner all last week. How come we didn't go to dinner? Like, baby, I'm tired. I've been working out. I'm trying. Like, don't like. Oh,
that's fair.
Yeah, but y'all assume based off past.
Don't put me in y'all. Who is y'all? It ain't me.
WOGIE. The wogies.
It ain't me. It is definitely not me.
Yeah, but when y'all say we know, no, you think you know. You assume. And a lot of times the assumptions may be right, but a lot of
Yes.
times they could be wrong.
I mean, for me, I feel like intuitively I will know that there's something going on, and then I will ask the question.
So a couple things. The first thing, if you're wondering when Shaq lifted this chick's ankle up, it's at the very beginning of the podcast, so you could go check that out. The second thing, yeah, this video is actually becoming longer than the actual podcast, so I'm gonna just be real short about this. Number three, women's intuition is bullshit, and Bad Boys, and all of that shit is proof the women's intuition don't be working. Like they baby dad, so you didn't sniff out that he was broke, so you didn't sniff out that he was gonna be a problem. You know how many chicks say, "Oh man, everything was good," and then he just changed. And yeah, where was your intuition there? Where was your intuition there? It failed you. When women were getting scammed by the Tinder swindler, where was their intuition? It was asleep at the wheel. It just never triggered when they was sending all that money over. Their intuition never triggered. Number three, everybody knows, and I'm pretty sure this is number three, we're going to go with that, but everybody knows that you can't keep it a full being with women. This is the thing, it's so funny with most women. Let's say you were like just either in a Shaq position or a King 6'8", the great position. If you go around the streets of New York or Miami and just every chick you interested in, not every chick you see, but every chick you interested in, you say, "Hey, what's your name?" "Oh, yeah, my name is," "Hey, you trying to fuck tonight?" "Oh, not tonight? When?" "Well, you trying to fuck at all?" You trying? If you do that, I don't care what you look like, your rate of success is going to be very low. Now, I'm not saying you wouldn't have success. I'm saying it would be very low in comparison to playing it cool, getting a number or Instagram, maybe even alluding to like, you having some sexual interest, like, "Oh man, that ass is fat," or whatever the case may be, seeing how receptive she is to that. And then hitting her with the question, whether it's via text or whether it's like after you see she's receptive and stuff like that. Like, that's how it works. Because if she is not receptive of that, that doesn't mean that she's not attracted to you. If you say, "Oh, damn, that ass fat," if you don't get the response you're looking for, that don't mean that she's not attracted to you. But it does mean she's not that attracted to you. But even then, she might just be trying to protect her image, trying to protect her, like, just, it's that gate. It's that gate to the coochie, like, to where it's like, "Oh no, you got to work harder than this." It's like, so it's one thing to play it cool and, do something like how I mentioned, like the Jersey Shore shit, to where it's like asking them if they are DTF. That's a softer, more palatable way to go about that, right? That's one way to do it versus just coming out like, "Yo, I'm trying to cram dick inside you. What's up?" Just out the gate. That is going to make a chick's antennas go up, and she is just going to be like, "Ew, no." And rest in peace to, I think his name is Alan Roger Curry. I think that's the order it's in. I always mix the order up. He got stories about him talking to chicks like this in a grocery store. And guess what they do? Oh my God, no, oh. And then they try and come back and get them later. But you got to think about this. In them stories, why are they so like, "Oh my God, oh, why is you saying it?" It's a reason that they doing that. You could go back. He's gone now, unfortunately, but you could go watch his content and see the reason he says. I can't remember. But the reason is that whole barrier to entry that I mentioned is two things, like just trying to protect their public image, even the image that they are projecting in just your eyes. Don't even got to be a public image, just the image that you are going to have of her. But also, they just don't want to make themselves seem that easy. Oh yeah, she ain't got no cavities, man.
But
Like you gotta
wouldn't a woman? It's the same. A woman
see.
is a woman. So a billionaire woman and a non-billionaire woman.
Oh, women are not the same. You're tripping.
No.
No,
What kinds of women are there?
to do and not to do.
Like to make assumptions or
To
not?
do and not to do is masculine and non-masculine.
I agree.
The more you got, the more masculine y'all become,
That's a
which is
fact.
fine. Which is fine. That's cool.
So she would be more masculine then, which
Yeah,
means you
but
would have to be more in your feminine.
but no. First of all, I'm never gonna be feminine. I'm gonna be compatible for her.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring Zunik every night. Right? I'm gonna be fine as motherfucker. I'm gonna be somebody that don't need her money.
Right.
I don't need her money. So
Right.
that right there is gonna take a whole emotional load off of her and the family. Family
Yeah.
be like, he's good. Rather than due diligence, you did what? Oh, baby, he's only with you for your money. So you didn't talk about that part.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're gonna be like, he's cool, he's good, and as a man, I already know what I got to do to make her happy.
So do
And see, that's the issue right there as far as this point that I'm about to make. She said that Shaq would have to be in his feminine because women that make more money are masculine. Imagine Shaq reducing himself to being feminine. You're talking about a 7 foot, 300, I said 300, like 500, 400 pound motherfucker. Just tremendous, deep voice. Like, even if we talking MMA fighters, boxers and stuff like that, man, they still probably the top in the world, probably still not really fucking with him like that. Just off of weight alone. It's possible I've thought negative things about Shaq, but one thing I never thought is that he was feminine or a cake or nothing like that. Just never at any point in my life crossed my mind. And just because a chick make more money, he decides to be with her, he has to be in his feminine. That is absolutely ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. But I'm glad that they both acknowledge the more money a woman make, the more masculine she is. We see all this content in this space of women getting in front of podcast mics and saying, no, we making the money now. We the new niggas. Like, they really think that the money make the man. That's the craziest part. And that's the crazy part about where we are at as a society. Because even when you listen to these like other dudes, these like Andrew Tate type figures or whoever it may be, they gonna tell you, bro, like Andrew Tate's whole thing is like, if you cannot solve your girl's monetary problems and she gotta work, then you're not a man. That's his whole thing. But then he'll go and say all this, protector stuff and you gotta be a good family man and you gotta, moisturize her feelings or whatever. He'll say all the proper stuff that really sounds good and his masculinity. He'll say all that stuff. But that right there is a point that he said that I absolutely don't like. Because reducing a man to money is just like you're taking away the soul of a man. You're taking away the soul of a man. And we not talking about attracting women. We not talking about providing in a relationship or anything like that. We are talking about you saying that a guy isn't a man because he can't solve his woman's financial problems. I'm not about to go deep on that because we're deep in the video and Andrew Tate is not in the video. And I already did a video on that, responding to that. It's in one of the 2-minute drills like from months ago. But Shaq himself, he said that's fine. He willing to deal with a masculine chick. And it's like, it's crazy to me that even when we get to the 100 millionaires, what is that, like fucking 9 figures? The 9-figure guys? Even when we get to them, the chick on the right it was just so casual how she said it. So you're going to be in your feminine because she's masculine. Because she making more money than a guy that has 9 figures. What are we talking about? And this is the thing. I'm going to just keep it so real with you. I'm not going to pull no punches. Shaq said that's fine. That's not fine for society. That's me keeping it a bean. Like, really just think about that. My dude put me on to something the other day, and he said universal law. That's what he follows. And he says, if you were to do this thing, or if everybody on the planet was to do this thing, what would be the outcome? That's what he moves by. If everybody on the planet was to do this thing, what would be the mass outcome of this? When you think about women being masculine, and we look at a society, if every woman becomes masculine and every woman makes a lot of money And then even then, let's just say even every woman makes more than all the men. What type of society do you think we'll have? And I'm going to tell you something. It's not the society that we have now. It would be far worse than what we have now on a mass scale. I can tell you one thing. The disrespect that men would be facing would be unprecedented. Because the difference between a woman that feels like a man and a man that actually is a man just by default is going to respect another man. And one thing, and this is me keeping it a being with you, the one thing that a man is absolutely going to respect about another man is his capacity and capability of violence. That's what a man is going to respect about another man, bare minimum, out the gate, just off rip. That's what they're going to respect to some degree. When it comes to women, they don't have that at all because of social contracts and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that, anything weird, so don't take it anyplace else. I'm just pointing out a fact that they don't have that because we are not supposed to do that. That is not something they are supposed to be facing. And I actually believe that they shouldn't be facing anything like that as far as any physical harm from a man. So let's just make that clear. But the thing is, you get to play a man, but you're not a man. Oh my goodness, I got to make that stud video, man. At some point, I got to do that. Because I got a whole theory that I have in real life that I've never said, on this channel. And I've had this for over a decade. I had this for over 15 years, bro. But with that being said, men would be universally disrespected and it would be tolerated. And not even disrespected. The respect just wouldn't be there. And you would have women who kind of want men, but the men are just completely disposable to them. And the majority of men would not be good enough because, again, if you know how women work, they want a guy that is superior no matter how masculine they are. And if they can't find a guy that's superior, not only are they not going to respect him, but at some point, there's going to be a breaking point. When you ask chicks, this is a hypothetical question that you probably can see on a bunch of podcasts, but I've asked in real life a bunch of times as well. Could you be with a guy that makes, less than you? And this question is phrased a bunch of different ways. Could you be with a guy who he has everything? He's a 10 as far as looks, all this stuff, but he works at McDonald's, or he makes, 30,000, 40,000, or he's unemployed or whatever, but he's everything that you like in a man. Some women will flat out say no, but the ones who say yes, the way they go about it, this is what they say. I could be with him as long as he has a desire to make more, as long as he is working to make more, as long as he aspires to be greater than what he is today. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that she is not fine with the financial status of this man. And I'm not saying that they have to be. I'm just pointing out what it actually is. So that McDonald's 30,000 that they say, oh yeah, I would date a guy like that if he met all the other criteria, as long as he is trying to get better, as long as he is trying to make more money. They are not content with where he is at. They do not like it. It is not something to where they could just have that. And just really think about it. This man meets every other thing that they like. But the job that he has and the money that he makes, it's not enough. He has to become better. Now, I'm not against that. I'm not like, oh man, they gotta date the guys that work at McDonald's or nothing like that. But this is the thing. It points out what I said. And when you talk about this economy stuff, that's when it becomes a problem as far as like the majority of men out here. That's when it becomes a problem for the average man. Because women don't care what the economy is doing. They just care what they want. They don't care that it's burning outside. They don't care that it's on fire outside. They still want you to bring them some ice water. And this is the issue that I believe when it comes to masculine women who make more money than most men and stuff like that. They're never going to be happy. They're never going to be happy because of how they're built, their lack of awareness of, what they've turned themselves into as far as, okay, you got all this success, but your success is not what attracts men. And when we look at it, as far as the guys that you want, you're not actually competing with women who are educated or anything like that because men don't care about that. Women who have degrees and all that shit, that's not what you're competing with. You're competing with hot women. That's what you're competing with. You're competing with regular women who are compliant. Some of them gonna be hot. That's what you're competing with. Younger women. That's what you're gonna be competing with as well. So these women are gonna want superior guys that they are not able to get. That they are flat out not able to get. And to wrap this up, that is one of the main problems with feminism and women earning, high wages and things like that. And that's just me keeping it real. I don't look at a woman making a high wage and just look at it like, oh, that's a problem by itself. They should pay her. I don't look at it like none of that. But when we look at it from a dating perspective, I'm going to just keep it so real with you. She's now broken. In most cases, she is now broken. You might have some people like Queen who goes with Clarence, who make more money than him, who put him on YouTube and all this stuff. But she make more money than him. She the breadwinner. And she's cool with him, and they got a whole relationship dynamic where she is kind of insecure, and he's like, he doesn't reassure her in her insecurities and stuff like that. But then you might have somebody like a Bad Baby who she's with a whole abuser who be karate kicking her face every 3 weeks. And you want to know the funny thing about both of these guys? They are bad boys. Bad boys, guys who are not really good for these chicks in actuality. Now, the other thing about them is everybody that I named is entertainers to some extent. So, like, that's not even the real world for real. That's not even real. When we get past those people and we look at somebody who got like a business degree and they like, oh, she done rose up and did all this shit. You got a few Oprahs, and even then she's still in the entertainment industry, who could deal with a Stedman and be happy with a Stedman. But when it comes to the majority of chicks, especially when you look at what they say on these podcasts like We the New Niggas, these chicks are going to be alone forever. And I'm done because I done cooked this joint longer than the podcast, the actual podcast, man. Let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.